everyone. Hello, everyone. Excellent. Good morning. Hi. So this is not going to be a talk about Dino. I know you're very disappointed, but it felt like NodeConf was not the place to come and pitch my wares here. But you know, I can't help myself. Dino has native type support built in. It's built on web standards. It is deeply ESM. It is a single executable with formatting and linting and LSP and all sorts of goodies all within a single file. And it's secure by default. And it is backwards compatible with Node, and we just released 2.0. And you can check that out at dino.com/2. But I'm not going to talk about Dino today. I'm going to talk about JavaScript and the fact that this is a very important language. This is, in some ways, the default programming language. And despite this Octoverse survey that GitHub just released a couple days ago, where it's showing Python taking the #1 slot of activity on GitHub. If you read between the lines, you realize that's not really true, because JavaScript and TypeScript are effectively the same ecosystem. And really what people are seeing, what's happening on GitHub is more people are writing TypeScript than JavaScript before. This is still a growing, vibrant ecosystem, and we should make it better. NPM is arguably the most successful software repository in the world. It has millions of packages. It's you know, collectively here, I'm sure everybody here has important modules on NPM. It is a real resource to the community, and it allows us to run where we had to crawl before. But since the GitHub acquisition, feature development in NPM has, well, frankly, stopped. And GitHub has taken a very hands-off approach to the registry. I think the best that can be said about the acquisition is that npmjs.com is highly available. You can trust it. It's a place where you can put tarballs. But that's it, right? And there is no indication that anything is going to change in the future. And that is really in contrast with the vibrancy of JavaScript, where everything is changing all the time, and there's new frameworks every week, and there's new runtimes, and there's ESM, and we are all battling and excitedly trying to improve what is the default programming language, and I think will continue to be the default programming language. Publishing a package to NPM is difficult, especially if you're writing TypeScript. You need to have some sort of build. You don't ever just upload files to NPM. You have to have, of course, some sort of build process, which is a little strange for a scripting language where you're supposed to just run and execute stuff, right? Like, we should all take a step back and realize that we're not writing Rust here. This is JavaScript, right? It's meant to be fast and simple, and it's maybe, you know, it's fast, but you know, it's not the most performant thing on earth, right? Like, if you really want to have a very fast WebSocket server, well, you can do better things in Rust. It's just going to be much harder, and it's going to take a much longer time, right? We are building on a scripting language here. And so anytime there's a build step involved in, say, distributing your code to NPM, I think you need to take a step back and ask yourself, what the heck are we doing? This is a scripting language. When you publish a Ruby gem, do you have a build process? So yeah, trying to convert your TS into JS and DTS, getting your export conditions correct, figuring out the CJS, ESM types things. Go to definition doesn't work with TypeScript. Often, because NPM packages are published as tarballs, you have to download the entire tarball, even if you're depending on a single utility function, and that creates a lot of node modules bloat. And importantly, in 2024, most packages have some implicit assumption around it being a Node.js environment, and we are frankly in a world where there are other runtimes. Why do we have to deal with this? So JSR is a new module registry. We released this a couple months ago. It has native TypeScript support. It is opinionated in that you cannot upload CommonJS to it. It is ESM only. It doesn't try to replace NPM so much as work alongside it, and I'll demonstrate that here, but effectively you can have JSR packages that depend on NPM packages, and you can install JSR packages with existing package managers. Importantly, JSR is not a package manager, it is a registry. We've seen a lot of evolution in how you download packages from the NPM registry, but nobody is actually trying to improve the registry situation. JSR is explicitly built for all the ways that you can execute JavaScript: Node, Dino, browsers, Cloudflare workers, others, bundlers, you name it. There are a lot of consumers for JavaScript, and I think that needs to be an explicit goal of the registry. And of course, provides great DX and gets us back to a world where you can simply hammer on your keyboard like a scripting language should allow you to do and publish it and not turn this into a big kerfuffle, because good God, it is JavaScript at the end of the day, right? It's supposed to be simple. If you have a build process, you just have to ask yourself, is this really what we're doing? We're adding build processes to scripting languages? So yeah, in the same way that TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, JSR can be thought of as a superset of NPM. It kind of overlays the registry. NPM just has such strong network effects, and there's so many modules published there that it's effectively impossible to not rely on NPM in some ways. And so this is kind of an explicit goal of JSR. TypeScript is a first-class citizen, as I mentioned. You can publish TypeScript directly. You don't need to leave anything. You don't need to convert this source code into JavaScript. TypeScript, it's becoming more and more of a known fact, but TypeScript is the next version of JavaScript, right? I mean, there's maybe some arguments to be had about whether there's enums or various other features in the language, but obviously adding types to JavaScript is useful, and yeah, TypeScript works very well. So we encourage you to publish TypeScript source if you have it. Of course, it's not necessary. You can publish JavaScript if you want to. And JSR handles all of the difficult things as it should: generating API docs, creating DTS files, transpiling your code for cross-runtime compatibility. Of course, life in JSR is also very nice for consumers of modules, not just the publishers of modules. It's just crazy that we are in 2024 and JavaScript, the world's most popular programming language, does not have auto-generated documentation. I don't understand how this is still a thing. In JSR, you of course do get auto-generated documentation. We've stolen some nice features from the Dart space, in particular package scoring, to encourage people to improve their packages over time, add readmes, add documentation, etc. Yeah, all of this is possible without a costly migration, in that this all kind of works with the NPM protocol and works with existing package managers. Yeah, publishing is fantastic. No transpilation, no CommonJS, just publish sources. It is simple and secure. I'll demonstrate this in a second. And just a word on security. When you publish from your terminal, you are going to encounter, you're going to have to log into the website to authorize yourself, and you're going to log in with your GitHub login, and your GitHub login is going to require some 2FA. We also support publishing from GitHub Actions using the OIDC token, and we do generate the attestations in SigStore to be able to say that packages were created by this specific user on GitHub in kind of a cryptographically verifiable way. It is meant to be a public service to the JavaScript community, and in particular, I'm talking about this not so much to tell you the features of JSR, but to have a call to action at the end. So I'll get back to this, but this is supposed to be maximally useful, and a hands-off, no support policy for a registry is just not in everybody's best interest. What happens if somebody squats the Google scope? Is the policy to just not do anything and allow that, allow some random user to own the Google scope? We don't think that's in everybody's best interest. And so there is a moderation policy where we can hand out scopes to the appropriate people. And there are quotas on the number of scopes, and we have a no scope squatting policy. Again, it is attempting to be maximally useful to JavaScript programmers. An aside about the NPM, on NPM there's a Dino package. If you do npm install Dino, you will not get my software. You will get some random person's software that you definitely do not want. It is a definite security hole, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who are npm installing Dino. That's not Dino software, despite trademark disputes, despite long letters to GitHub. They will do nothing, right? They have a hands-off policy there, and that is not in everybody's best interest, right? Maybe not such a big deal for the Dino NPM package, but this is happening for a lot of people, and some form of moderation, I think, is really necessary. So let me stop talking about features and just open up a terminal here. And let's look at what JSR does and looks like. So I'm just going to code up a little library here. And yeah, let's see. Is that visible? Yeah. So I'm going to do one true date library. Because I hate how Americans do the month, day, year. And I also hate how the Europeans do the day, month thing. And I'm not even sure which is which sometimes, because both are ridiculous. There is, oh, yeah. Created some controversy here. Okay, let's do npm init. So I'm just going to, I don't know why it defaults to 1.0, seems insane. But let's do this. And I've got my package JSON, and let me just touch my index.js file here and open up VS Code so I don't disorient anybody. And yeah, let's start coding here. So I'm going to export a function called oneTrueDate, and yeah. So I'm going to, that's visible. I'm going to have this function, and it's just going to take a date and return a string, formatting it in a reasonable way, a date object. So let's just for now say it's 2024-11. I'll choose the wrong date here, and we'll kind of fill that in with some implementation in a second. And just to check that I'm doing stuff properly, let me console log this, oneTrueDate, new date, blah, blah, blah. Does that look good? And I'll do node index.js. And of course, like node does not do what you expect, but thanks to the work of Yeah. Thanks to the work of a lot of people, this will be going away soon. But right now we have to add this type module here, and we get kind of ESM JavaScript there. Okay, so that works. But of course, this is not exactly the functionality I want, and I don't really know how to format the date other than using this npm library called datefns. So let me add that, and I think that adds it to my dependencies here. So I will format my date by importing that format from datefns, and I'll do format and d, let's see, year, month, dd. And let's just check that works. I have to return it. Okay, good. All right, so we've programmed our library. Let's publish this to JSR. So it is just JavaScript at the moment. So let's go to JSR.io, and let's click Publish a Package, and we'll choose a scope, and we'll choose a package name, oneTrueDate. And I'm going to publish this, and it gives me a little snippet of code here that I can drop into a file called jsr.json. So I'm going to create a jsr.json file here and paste this in. And I've been playing around with this for a bit. I've already published this version, so let me bump the version to 0.3 here. And yeah, then we do npx JSR publish. And it's errored out, and it says, oh, I don't have a mod.ts file. Of course, I've made a mistake here. My exports are index.js. Let's try that again. And here is the authorization page that checks that I'm logged in and that I am who I say I am. We don't give out tokens. Yeah, now I've published this package here, and you can see my oneTrueDate function here that doesn't have too much documentation. I've published this package. It is online. That's all there is to it. Let's make some use of it now. So I'm going to npm init vite. So let's just create a little vite project, and let's go over here, and you can click on the use with npm here, and I'm going to copy this command here, which is npx jsr add oneTrueDate. This will download and add it to my package JSON file. And let's open it up in VS Code and check it out. So here's my package JSON. Let's ignore this for a second. Let's instead just make some use of it. So I'm going to import it like it tells me to here, and I'll just open up the main file and drop in an import here. Looks just like that. And yeah, I don't know, we'll change this h1 here to actually use this oneTrueDate, new date. And I have a syntax error. I guess I haven't closed this thing. Something like that. And maybe I'll do npm run dev. And yes, indeed, we are now using this in vite, right? Mind you, I've not touched Dino. We are using npm. We have just shown kind of a round trip publishing process of like consuming and using this. I am getting this little red squiggly here, and it's saying, hey, I don't have any types here. And if you notice, if I've made this big enough, this is a main TS file. I chose the vite TypeScript configuration. And so vite is kind of complaining here that like, hey, this is some JavaScript that I have no types for. So let's go back and correct this actually in our oneTrueDate. So we've done a first pass now, and let's improve it. So let's convert this now to TypeScript. So index.js, we're just going to rename this now to index.ts. And when we do this, we probably have to add some types here. So let's say this is a date, and let's say this is a string, and let's just add a doc string just to demonstrate some documentation. And yeah, let's republish it. So I think we should bump the version. So we'll bump the version to 0.3.1, and I probably have to fix the exports here to index.ts, but otherwise I can npx JSR publish. So now I've publishing some TypeScript to the registry with the new version of this package. And let's check out the auto-generated documentation. Here's the oneTrueDate function. It shows the types. It shows the doc string. Let's go over to our Vite project now and try to make some use of this. So what do I need to do here? I need to go into my package JSON and bump the version here. And I think that should be all that's necessary to remove that red squiggly. Oh, I need to npm install. And then I need to wait for the LSP to catch up. Thank you. And yeah, okay, now it's kind of pulled in the new version, and if I hover over there, you can see that I've got the types and the doc string, and it can be that easy. Why do we have to make everything so difficult? Let's make things simple. The world could be a nicer place. So actually, before I go back to my slides, because you guys are deeply into Node, let me just kind of open up the package JSON file in this Vite project, and you can kind of stare at that line 16 a little bit, and you can also stare at this npmrc file that the JSR add command added, and probably you can figure out how this works if you stare at this for a second, which I will give you a moment to. It's not incredibly magical. There's a little trickery. But yeah, effectively, JSR acts as an NPM registry as well. So now to get to the real point here. So I have built this software with my colleagues. Dino has created this software. It is a service that is online and running currently. But our intention is not to monetize this. This is MIT licensed software, and as I said, it's a community service. And I think it's in the best interest of the community to have a openly governed registry that is future forward and looking out for the best interests of the JavaScript community. JSR is designed to be cheaply run on commodity cloud services. It's essentially a bucket with a CDN around it. Right, Dino owns and operates JSR, but we would like to involve other people. So this is a call to action. So we are looking for partners here to organize so we don't have a charter, we don't have a foundation, we don't have a 501c3. We want to get together key people, in particular representatives from different runtimes, package managers, browsers, bundlers, various vendors of all sorts that have a stake in the JavaScript community, and figure out how we should organize this. Put together, the kind of first topics would be, what does the charter look like? Which foundation should this go into? Should we register our own 501c3? Should, probably we need to register a JSR trademark, like deal with effectively the organizational issues around managing this project. So I know there's a lot of people here involved in foundations and open governance of software projects, and yeah, I am speaking to you. You can contact me directly, rai@dino.com, and yeah, we're it should be said, I'm not looking for random people off of the internet to be on this board. I am looking for people who are representatives of runtimes and package managers, and truly kind of have a stake in what's going on here. Node itself can also help with JSR. So I showed you this npm-rc file. This is something that would be easy to remove with a little bit of tooling support. We could easily make a patch to npm and have it understand JSR modules more deeply. We could make a patch to yarn, pnpm, etc., and have it, effectively have these package managers know about the JSR registry and how to handle those things. These are easy things to do. And in fact, the Volt guys, we were having a conversation last night about this, and seems like there's already work in this direction, which is exciting. So, I think we can, with a little bit of tooling, reduce the configuration overhead and not require these npm-rc files. But a deeper support inside of Node, I think, is also possible. So I actually haven't demoed how this works in Dino. Let me just show you that. Obviously, it's delightful. What was it called? So let me just do a wait import JSR : it was Rye 1 true date, and yeah, that's it. So 1 true date, new date. Yeah, I mean it's as simple as could be. It could be this way also in Node, right? It would not be incredibly difficult to implement a native loader for JSR specifiers like this, so that when Node did a dynamic import, like in this case, it knew what to do with those things. So we're interested in getting native, deeper support into runtimes themselves. So again, what we're looking for now is a few key people to help us organize this governing board. Again, representatives of runtimes in particular is what we're looking for. People with experience in foundations, people that can help us put together the right charter and not the wrong charter. I don't actually know so much about open governance if you know the history of my project. Other people do, though. Yeah, anyway, we're trying not to make mistakes here, and again, with trying to have the best interests in the community at heart. There is a world in which we can organize this, and a year, 2 years from now, we can truly have a community-managed, openly governed registry that actually implements new features, is actually delightful to use, and is kind of there for the next 20 years of JavaScript. We are also looking for, this is lower requirements, but we're also looking for moderators, people to help us deal with scope disputes. And we have kind of a growing kind of rule book about how to do this and effectively answer emails and do scope quota increases. This is also important, but different than kind of figuring out the charter. And then finally, engineering help. Actually, JSR is, I would call it like it doesn't actually have versions, but I would call it like a V1 situation. It's pretty stable, it's working, it feels pretty robust. There's obviously many ways that we could improve this. And yeah, you're also encouraged to help out there, but that is one of the lowest things that we need right now. It's really kind of the governing board that we're looking for. Yeah, let's level up JavaScript. It doesn't have to be terrible. We can actually make this language delightful. So yeah, thanks.